Peace, everyone. This is Akilah Nihanda, and I'm here with Brother Joshua Muhammad. And you can go ahead and introduce yourself.
Thank you all. Thank you for letting me be on the show. What's up, everybody?
Me and Brother Joshua are in the Nation of Islam, and however, we are very much so connected to our people who don't consider themselves a part of the Nation of Islam or whatnot, or the so-called conscious community. And I wanted to be able to just talk about what recently happened when it came to how a lot of people had criticisms about Meg Thee Stallion and Cardi B for their music video that just came out. And I recently went on Instagram. I was following Cardi B on Instagram, and I noticed that even though a lot of people were complaining about the video and whatnot, I also saw how a lot of people, maybe not the same people who were complaining, let me make that clear, but a lot of us in the conscious community like pictures and images that are opposite of what we promote. I'll say this. So actually, me and Brother Josh actually had a good conversation already about this. And it was so good that I just said, you know what, we really need to address it publicly, because it's like an unwritten or unspoken elephant in the room about the conscious community and, you know, sometimes their preferences publicly versus maybe privately. So I guess we could just open up this conversation, and I do feel like we pretty much ended up saying the same things for the most part about this topic. But can you, as a man, elaborate on why maybe someone like you would like a picture or a post that maybe MGT would consider risque?
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Well, first of all, I'd like to say that most of the time that I can't speak for all men, but for men, myself and the the homies that I know, we're not necessarily liking everything about the picture. We're just supporting the artist, whoever the person is. So if there's a rapper who's a male, right, who may have bottles of Ciroc in the video or just dancing and something, I'm not saying, oh, bro, I support just Ciroc. I'm just like, this little baby, this Future, these are people who I like, so I'm just liking it. I'm not thinking about the fact that it was a blunt on the side of the thing, or the fact that he had his shirt off and now we're not supporting the shirt. So I'm just supporting the picture. I feel like it's the same thing. Whether it's my favorite boxer and he always has his shirt off in the gym, or LeBron has his. I'm not saying I like the shirt off thing. I'm just saying I like you. So when I like Cardi B, that's not my intention, is to say, oh, I like you with your clothes off. I like Cardi B, period. As a fan, like I'm just like, oh, I like you. So whether no matter what she's wearing, I like Cardi B. So I'm not like, I don't like her when she has the jogging suit on, but now she got the jogging suit off. Ooh, let me like it.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense, because, well, in our discussion, I was really, yeah, it does. As far as, but see, a lot of people don't agree with liking everything just because you like the person. So for me, when I see somebody who, what is it? Unfrozen? Can you hear me?
No.
Okay. So for me, when I see somebody who, I get what you're saying though, about how some people, if they like an artist, they're just gonna like, everything on the page. And I get that. I, on the other hand, and maybe some other people who might have criticisms about that, I can personally follow their page, but I'm not going to necessarily like all of the pictures on the page. I'll try to like the pictures that I feel like she might be more covered, or pictures with her child. But I think that when you talk about how there's men who also support certain things that we are against, but a lot of times in the community or the conscious community, that's not really pointed out as much as the women, because the women, it's obvious when we don't cover up. But even though the woman is not covered up, when it comes to the man, just because they are covered, it doesn't dismiss all the other stuff that they're doing. You know, they are, like you said, popping bottles and doing certain things that we also don't condone. But a lot of times the backlash is not on them. So, like, how do you feel about that?
I think it's extremely hypocritical. And as a man, I refuse to partake in that aspect of it, because mainly because I came up doing security work, like many people who came up in the nation. That's how the best money was in security for most of us. So you get a security detail, we on a video shoot, award show. These rappers are all smoking in our faces. They drinking. They're gonna have 4 or 5 girls go to the trailer, and you want me to die for them? You know what I'm saying? And we will. We take pride. We take a picture like, y'all, woo woo. But if one of those girls who used to be in the video 10 years ago, now she's the rapper, she's the face, you want to tear her down. But the same dude who got the same, like, I don't understand that logic in it. If it's we don't condone something, we don't condone it. But if it's a man, let's give him. But if it's a woman, all hell breaks loose. I don't understand that logic.
Yeah, me neither. I think what it really stems from is a sexist and a misogynistic mentality, because we really are in a sexist world, in a sexist society, whether we want to believe it or not. Even sisters who cover themselves up still experience sexism. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, you know, some people feel like, well, if I'm in the Nation of Islam, or if I am under the church, or I should be exempt from, you know, bad things happening to us and all of that. And yes, it helps you for sure when it comes to the covering. It does help. But at the same time, there's still a mentality of male superiority and female, you know, subordination. And it just screams louder when you actually are uncovered, or you do, you know, twerk on the videos and whatnot. So I think that a lot of times when we say we are conscious, I think that that's a very big responsibility to have, because on one end, you can come across as, yeah, smart and knowledgeable, but on the other end, you don't want to come across as judgmental, you know, to our people. And when you come across as judgmental, all that happens is you're turning people away from the very message that you want them to, you know, hold on to. And so I'm learning to not overly criticize my people when they put out certain things. Like with Cardi and Meg, I had to like recalibrate how I look at everything, especially considering the fact that I feel like Cardi had a point when she was saying that a lot of conscious people low key are doing some very interesting things behind closed doors. You know what I mean? And so I don't know how you feel about that when it comes to, like you said, the hypocritical instance. I know you were saying about, you know, a lot of people in Atlanta that, you know, have experienced firsthand the hypocrisy of establishments, you know, whether it be mosque, church, whatever. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. I think no people, I've been around every woke community, conscious community, nobody's more judgmental and hypocritical than religious people. That's why there's a whole new generation of people who don't subscribe to traditional religion. Not that don't love God, Jesus, and all the prophets, but the new generation is not going for the hypocrisies maybe as much as the previous generations, because who's going to these? If I see a man on Facebook making a status about Cardi B and all those I would just simply ask him if he's religious, woke, or not. Can I see your phone? Can I see a search history? That's all I want to know. Like, are we going to lie and act as if men don't watch porno like religious men? I'm cool with some strippers. I went to school, in Atlanta with some of the girls who dance at very popular strip clubs, and they said a lot of their customers came from woke, conscious community. People were there in the daytime, but then at nighttime, but in the daytime, they shun them and act like they don't know who they are. See, I don't subscribe to that. I feel like you can be, like they said, Jesus ate with the sinners, even though he wasn't a sinner. You know what I'm saying? I feel like we can approach our people in a way where I want to help you, sister, get up out of this condition without judging you in the process or getting exposed as a liar. See, that's why I don't want to be like, oh no, Josh, don't act, Josh, like I ain't see you watching. Like, I don't. That's the worst thing, because once you do that, then you lose our credibility. And I feel like a lot of brothers do that. A lot of brothers will. It's just it's hypocrite. It's being a hypocrite. That's, to me, that's the easiest form of hypocrisy that I see. Is you see sisters do it too. They judge sisters based off their dress code as if the ones who are covered are more righteous. No, just mean you may have another level in one sense, but that don't mean your heart is more pure. You know what I'm saying? There are people who come to the aid of the Nation of Islam, to the aid of the minister, who weren't covered and they arrive for him right now. It's people who some of his best followers are like, who got beards, whatever they do, and they love the minister, and you can call on them. And there are some people who walk with the minister every day who very soon may be the ones who betray him. So I don't. And a reference that you can get to Akilah from the group up here, Outcast has a quote where they say, "Question, is every nigga with dreads for the cause, and is every nigga with goals for the fall?" No, so don't get caught up in appearance. You know what I'm saying? It's like we got to come out of that. No, I don't subscribe to that. No. Do all of us have to do better? Yes. But for me to only address people who are dress code, then I don't subscribe to that. No, not at all.
Because you have on like a baseball cap and like casual clothes, have you ever gotten any criticism from people like, why don't you wear a suit when you interview people, or why don't you do this? Or have you ever gotten that, like, oh, why do you dress casual? Or
Absolutely, I've gotten it mainly to other people. People are, I interview people don't approach me like directly like that. So it's more of they'll tell somebody else, ask him, and they're like, "Hey, Josh, somebody said, why don't you?" And I tell them all the time, I'm doing my job. I'm where I want to be. I'm where we gonna have the brothers who wear this, and we gonna have the brothers who wear this. But the people who I'm going after, they know what level I'm meeting them at, right where they are, and I'm gonna bring them all the way up to where we need to be. But there's certain people, if they see, no. Just like I told somebody to study the Minister's Breakfast Club interview. The first interview he went on, even though the minister's up in age, he had linen on. Then he came with the suit. You know what I'm saying? But at first he had the linen on at the Breakfast Club. Like, and even, he's older, so he can wear suits. But if I'm younger, don't let me go to the Breakfast Club. Ain't no way. That's all I'm saying. Don't let me go no, because I know who the people I'm trying to get. This how I dress every day. They're gonna be like, Josh, we see you 6 days out the week looking one way, then on Sunday you wear this. Okay, fine. But on a day-to-day, this is what I wear.
That makes sense. Do you think that the reason why a lot of mosques and churches don't have, I guess you could say, let's focus on the mosque, because that's where we are, right? Yeah. Do you think that we could get way more people, or why don't we have as many people, or let's say people stay in the mosque, because we got a lot of people that stand up and process, and they come to the mosque, they enjoy it, they stand up, they get excited, and then we no longer see them after a few weeks or a few months, right? So is it the feelings of being judged? Like, is it the feelings of, along with other things, you got to have your own, at the end of the day, you got to have your own strength. But at the same time, do you think that some of it is because of the way we treat people? You know what I mean? When they come in, or the way we treat people on an everyday basis, just based off of religion or based off of what we should and should not be doing. I think sometimes the treatment is not out of love. I think a lot of times it's very, very harsh. And when you talk to people in a harsh way, you know, sometimes people can handle that, but other times people feel like there's no love in that, and that you're just trying to maybe take out your anger on them, and a lot of people just not going to have it. So you got a lot of people who are out in the streets like, I would be with y'all, but I'm not about to, have this person talking to me no kind of way, or, how do you feel about that?
I agree 100%. And I feel that I'm grateful, like you are, that you and I have been able to see the Most High Minister as far kind of understand his way. The teachings and the ministers separate. In one minute, in one case, they are the same, but in another case, it's completely different. It's like, this is the law, this is the book of Moses, the book of, okay, we get that. But to know the man is completely different, because his way is not our way. Many of us just use the words, the teachings to beat the hell out of the people, and that's not the minister's way. So if you see the minister interact with celebrities, drug dealers, drug addicts, homeless, like whatever, any element, he's harder on the more learned of us. He's harder on presidents and rulers, even though he's humble. He'll speak to them way stronger than he ever would the brother with a needle in his arm, the brother who smells like weed, or the sister he's going to be more compassionate and concerned to, because he understands the hurt. We come almost like the opposite. We go harder on the people who are the victims of society, and if you come from a status wound, then we worship you. You know what I'm saying? That's that's not the minister's way. You would never know that the who the minister is talking to if you didn't know a celebrity, or who is that? Or this is the minister talking to the person outside his door, the person who's bringing him towels, the person who's, you a queen, you a king, you a god. They're like, okay, yeah. And he can win more people like that. But even people with those of us who represent him through YouTube clips, I feel like we always show him just mad, angry. And I'm like, that's 24/7. Like, how many sisters have been molested, raped, and taken advantage of? So I know that's you know what I'm saying? Let's talk about the brothers. Brother, I know that you are a victim of society. Let's not just show him always saying, if you do this, you out for life. And it's like, okay, that the minister has that side, but he also has a more compassionate side. Because in the time we're in right now, 2020 and the pandemic, our people need love, bro. Our people are mentally checking out. So we need to show the minister's side of warning, but through love, warning.
No, that's so true, because in the past, it wasn't very popular for Black people to commit suicide, but now all of a sudden suicide is on the rise. And if suicide is on the rise, that's telling us that there's a lot of mental anguish that's happening, that's really, really getting us to a point of Black people starting to kill themselves. So if people are getting to that point, then us beating them down because of the choices that they're making is not going to help in any way, shape, or form, And I never looked at it the way you said about how we do the opposite. We go harder on the person who has dependencies and obvious, what's it called, digressions or whatever, and versus the other people we personality worship, which is a big thing, that a lot of us do. And I think that at the end of the day, when our people come out with things that we disapprove of, I think that we're going to have to start taking a different approach. You know what I mean? And this conversation is just one of many that I wanted to have, because if we start actually looking at everything a little bit differently, I think that we would have a better pool when it came to actually having an impact or influence on our people, instead of them being, completely turned off. Like, I know you were saying, like, if you didn't have the love that you have for the minister, and if you didn't know, like, the root of the teachings, you probably wouldn't have even been in the nation. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Elaborate on that.
It's because I see him. So there's so many instances where I've seen, since I was a child, being in Chicago, the minister bailing us out, about drill, about something where it's like, oh, Brother John, woo, and the minister's like, oh, hey, what's up? Hey, it's like that because he could crush you if you're in a fragile state. If he say the wrong thing, you kill your whole spirit. So in Atlanta, I do theater, I do plays, I do production, and I remember them writing letters on me and they saying, all kind of stuff. And then now it's like the minister's like, oh, how's the play? Oh, you were in Sister Margaret's play, but Sister Margaret in Chicago who put me in the play, they gave her hell in Chicago. They gave me hell down here. And then the minister's like, no, Mother Sinetta wants y'all to do plays. My mom's doing plays. But if it wasn't for that, the people in, oh no, they said there ain't no more plays. Ain't no West Side Story, Lion King, and no. There's not. So if I'm a creative person, and I am, I would have left because, bro, I'm not gonna drill every day. I don't want to do karate every day.
Right. No, yeah, that makes sense. I think that we have to free the believers. Like the minister wanted us to be free. You know what I mean? Like, first off, Allah wants us to be free. Islam is supposed to free you. We're not supposed to be slaves. You know what I mean? So if we really want to be free, we have to allow the believers to show their personalities. Yes, we got to be able to, we can't just go, overboard and be creating the same music videos that we talk about. But we have to,
yes, ma'am.
we have to, be able to be ourselves so that, we can express what it is that Allah is trying to use us to get his message across. You know what I mean? He uses theater, he uses music, he uses art, he uses architecture, he uses engineering, he uses everything to glorify him. So why is it that I think it's a big misunderstanding. I think that people who think they know what it means to be a part of the Nation of Islam, like, I think they're going off of like stereotypes or something. You know what I mean? I think they feel like, well, I think I'm supposed to be super duper hard. I think I'm supposed to be super duper uptight. I think I'm supposed to be this, instead of actually studying what it is that we're taught. Like, that's not what we're taught. We're taught, yes, we are militant, but being militant is a state of mind. It's not simply a look. It's a look too, but there's a time and place for everything. Yes, you have to be, all general orders are in effect at all times, but that doesn't mean that you're going to have on your Vanguard uniform, like in the shower. Like, it's like, come on, So I just think it's just the struggle for balance. Like the minister said, it's a struggle for balance. And if we were to get more balance, we would be able to see balance and love. Like, we need way more love of ourselves and love of our people. Do you think that love is the key to getting people to actually listen to what you have to say?
Absolutely, because I'm a firm believer that, of course, Most High Mr. Farrakhan teaches us and has taught us that love is the mother of all emotions. But I feel like I've seen the minister, so many people want to just teach to people all the time. Sometimes the person in the street don't want to hear you teaching, bro. It's almost like being in relationships. I mean, you're married. I'm not married, but I've had my share of relationships, and I've known that sometimes even if you're right, it ain't the point. Sometimes the other person just wants to be heard. It ain't about being right all the time. So sometimes we can use all the community and just say, what do you want? What's going on? Because you don't know. What I look like telling a stripper who takes care of her family by how she's dancing, this and that, been molested, I don't know her condition. I just come out there like, look at your whore, look at your demon, look at, whoa. Let me go listen and see what's going on and then offer her a better way. But the Most High Mr. Farrakhan also said, when you have lost patience, that means you've lost love. So when you lose patience with people, you can't even watch them grow. We ain't got no, come on, So absolutely, love. I'm a big fan of love, and just listen to people. People want to be heard, man. People want to feel appreciated, validated, and you telling somebody to follow America at the wrong time or quoting Quran scriptures at the wrong time to them, they're not even listening. It only makes us feel good. We only teach to make us feel better. I'm only making posts because I'm condemning these words. I'm a show, but that don't mean that a person might actually receive that and listen. They might just be like, scroll right past your judgmental post. Like, nigga, you ain't out here with me. You don't know what I'm going through.
Dang, that reminds me of the proper handling of people. The messenger, gave us a manual, proper handling of people. Yes, it sounds like we as a community, not just the Nation of Islam, but the so-called conscious community, we need a lesson in proper handling of people. Like, we are some of the best, brightest, wonderful people on the planet. We know that. That's why we are in the Nation of Islam. But at the same time, we can also be sometimes the most critical, judgmental, hardest people on the planet, and we're going to have to learn how to get a little bit more love so that our people can truly feel that they're coming into something that is going to uplift their spirit and not break them,
Yeah.
Because this world already tries to break you. That's why they're doing the things that they're doing. You know what I mean? And talk about this, though. This is the last thing we'll talk about. A lot of people in the so-called conscious community act like they were just like this their whole life. You know what I mean? Like, what is that about? Like, you act like you ain't never did nothing crazy in your life. Like, you didn't just come from drugs. Like, you didn't just come from, you might have just came from the strip club. You know what I mean? So, so how is that? Like, don't come like you were, like the minister always says, I came up from hell just like y'all, I think more people need to, talk on the fact that we were cleaned up, People like, okay, me and you, we were born and raised in the Nation of Islam, but we're also not perfect. You know what I mean? But a lot of the criticism is sometimes coming from people who actually have like a past life. It's like, you literally have a past life. Like, why are you going so hard? But maybe they say, well, I'm going hard because I know how horrible that life is. I had that experience and I don't want that for other people. I get it, but that's not how you attract people to this new way of life, so I don't know.
I agree. And I think that's a great point. And we have to share our imperfections with people who are imperfect because we imperfect. So it is never like, that's always been my approach. I've been quite effective in Atlanta working with young people, especially young men, young women too, because we do group settings. And I got to tell them, sister, I was born. They're like, what? I'm like, I ain't judging. I got sisters I know, and I boom. They like, okay, but if I come and be like, because I'm walking with the minister and you know what I'm saying? They don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
They don't want to hear it. They want to hear, what do we have in common with each other? How can we relate to each other? Then we'll get to the upper room and the wokeness. And if you get this, God can come into your mind and train wisdom. But on a one-on-one, do you care about me enough to listen to my story? What's going on? And can you help me? Can you help me? And I want to make this point to Akilah real quick. Meg Thee Stallion is in college. People understand that there's this superiority thinking that only strippers are from broken families and broke down. And there are people who dance, who show their body, who come from money, who come from this, they're all kind of, we have been thinking like, if you do that you only it's only one, like I don't know Meg Thee Stallion story. We know Cardi B's story a little bit because she said, but I don't know this person, so I don't know. But if we just lump everybody who dressed a certain kind of way in, that sister must have been poor, must have been, you don't know. Let's go listen to him, boo, boo. And what I learned from the minister is, if you see his tapes, DVDs and stuff on YouTube, some of the same people that he's been teaching to and talking to have never changed. They're in the church. These are his friends, but it's not like they all joined the Nation of Islam. They all stopped dressing a certain kind of way. They don't smoke. They don't drink. Some of his helpers smoke and drink. Of these other activists and community. So maybe we're not gonna get everybody to just change clothes off the rip. They might be dressing like that the whole time, but as long as we can get them to come with us, to come help us. You know what I'm saying? The minister is not like all women who aren't in the Nation of Islam got to dress in the mosque. And I'm sure they still have skirts and he's still trying to. He's not like, if you ain't changed in the first 1988, then you can't be with me in 2020. No. I'm trying to get you. I'm constantly trying to get you. I'm constantly trying to love you, not judge you. I'm constantly trying to get you. And if it's a work for him, it will make us think that we can just say something when they want to just like I don't understand that. If the minister stop all the rappers from back in the day from smoking and drinking and changing, then what make us think that we can do that overnight? I don't get it.
Yeah, that's true. I remember the minister actually saying one time, he said, let's get our people productive first, and then we'll worry about cleaning them up later. I was like,
okay, yeah.
I was like, what? So I was like, I got to get productive, you know? And I'm not even, I'm not even in the so-called streets, but I got to get more productive, you know? So I agree. Again, going back to the very beginning, I'm not about to like the pictures, of our sisters maybe uncovered, but I will absolutely, not judge them, and I make a commitment to myself and my community that I will focus on the best parts of our people, and for them to know that they can always do better and be better, but I'm not going to throw them away if they are not, So any last words you have to say, my brother?
This is Akilah. Yes, ma'am. Real quick, the throw them away point. Even that, people in the nation like you out of luck. You clean up. You out of luck. Like we act like we're the minister. We not Noah. Right. We don't got the right to close the door and then like I'm not God. I can whatever's going on. I did my part. I showed love. I gave you some information, but I can't. We act as if the judgment's coming. I warned you that we didn't warn nobody. The minister warned somebody. That's what I'm saying. Like we act like I called rain, hail, snow, earthquake. We didn't really do that. We don't know the time. You know what I'm saying? We give ourselves more power than what we really like when it comes to the judgment of God. It's like, bro, let God do what He gonna do. We gonna do, and I want us all to make it. You know what I'm saying? That's my point. 2 quick points to Akilah. The same people who make like South Park, Family Guy, The Simpsons, like raunchy cartoons or Adult Swim and that kind of stuff. Yeah. The same people that may condemn those cartoons, what may not support your cartoon, if that makes sense. So instead of us like going hard against the Boondocks, cussing and saying, "Nick, let's support Sister Akilah's cartoon. Let's support each other. Let's not condemn." That's what I believe. And second, I think the people who some of my mentors and big homies that are in positions of influence around, they allow me to be myself. Wasn't like everybody was wearing regular clothes. Everybody would put linen outfits on and try to. I'm not older. I wasn't going to do it. And they're like, "Oh, that's just Josh." You know what I'm saying? He wanted detail, but I did it with me. I did it with some J's on or some Nikes or something. I didn't. So it's like you have a way you can express your Islam in your own way. If that makes sense. And we think that we have to wear these, or it becomes more like ritualistic as opposed to like, nah, this is me. I'm here to die for my sisters. Whatever. I'm gonna hold pose. When we got regular clothes, but I'm not wearing linens. No, I'm not doing like I did it my way, myself, and I feel like I respect it. Except you want to be yourself, y'all. Except you want to be yourself. That's all I'm saying.
Exactly. With that being said, thank you so much for our conversation. We'll probably have more on this, just in general, but I want to just end up having different conversations, probably with different people. We'll see. On topics that we think about, but we haven't really had conversations publicly about that we really need to, So in your podcast, everybody should make sure they always go on YouTube and check out Brother Josh's podcast. It's called The People's Podcast. And he actually is already doing this. He's having conversations with people that, need to be had publicly. And so I feel like we just all need to go harder when it comes to promoting what it is that we do want to see instead of complaining about what we don't want to see. So thank you, Brother Josh.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. This has been an awesome conversation. And, and inshallah, we'll have more. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.